stop. Let's stop this right now. All right. This is a very, very special occasion. This is going to be a very, very special review. It's a gigantic series figure. You know what I mean? And this design right here, this guy, he is celebrating his 30th anniversary / 30th birthday this year. And in honor of that, and in honor of the fact that this is my 10th, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10th gigantic series figure from X Plus, we got to start off this review a little bit different and more poetic. So let's do that right now. People, LP2000, right back at you with another video. Yes, welcome back to Leslie Chambers Kaiju Reviews on behalf of Summit Kaiju, and I'm your host, obviously, the one and the only Leslie P. Chambers. And today we're taking a look at a great X Plus figure release. Yes. Woo! You know what? I'm going to give you at least 3 seconds to look at this guy right now. Go ahead, 3 seconds. Oh man, this is so exciting. Yes. Today we're taking a look at the X Plus gigantic series, yes, of Godzilla 1989 standard edition, based off his iconic appearance in the epic Heisei Godzilla film, Godzilla vs. Biollante from 1989. And yes, you see I have the beautiful figure here in all his impressive, outstanding, just illustrious glory. Oh my God, this is such an amazing release and timely because this year marks the 30th anniversary of the film Godzilla vs. Biollante, as I mentioned earlier in my intro. Yes, such a great piece. You know, I do things around here. Let's get into the box before we get into the figure, and there's a reason why the box is not here right now, because the box is just too daggone big. But I got to show you the box anyway. And here's the box. Oh God, there you go. Here we go. This is the box. Yes, great box. Silhouette of Godzilla in the front, you know, looking forward, you know, gigantic series, Godzilla 1989, X Plus Garage toy. It doesn't have the sticker, you know, the Shin Godzilla 65 years sticker that we have been seeing in the boxes of recent releases lately. It's not here, but in the bottom left hand corner there is an illustration of Godzilla. It just says Godzilla in the bottom left hand corner. So that's the only thing that's different about, I guess, these boxes as of late. You know, it doesn't come with like I said, the 65 years of Godzilla on it, but you know, it is what it is. More likely this box will be furniture because honestly I use my gigantic series boxes as platforms, you know. I know a lot of people tend to trash their boxes, and I understand that, but I think with the gigantic series boxes, the boxes in particular, you can either use them as platforms, use them as furniture, or you can break down, if you're not in the idea of, or if you're not at that point that you want to get rid of your boxes, you can always break them down and just store them in your gigantic series boxes. Just take the plastic foam out of it, and then you have like a little storage case right here. You know what I'm saying? So that's it with the box. So let's get into the backstory of the figure. And let me just say this right now. You might as well get your favorite beverage and your favorite snack in hand, because this may be a long review. Yes. Want to forewarn y'all right now. Sit back and relax, because we're going to spend some minutes together. You know what I mean? The backstory with this figure is this. I know a lot of people, because this figure is just now getting to collectors' hands. It got dropped this past week and the week before, and it's still going to be shipping from Japan this week and probably the week afterwards. So it got released basically the tail end of April, and a lot of people tend to think that this figure was just coming down the pipeline last year when it came up for pre-order. But honestly, there's an even longer backstory with this figure. This figure is basically, I would say, 5 or 4.5 years in the making. And here's what I mean by that. Late 2015, John Stanowski from yes, you know who John Stanowski is. Great guy. He's the guy that runs Kaiju Addicts, the website, the Facebook page, the YouTube channel. Yes, we know him, we love him. John Stanowski. Go to his Facebook page, go to his YouTube channel, and go to his website. Awesome guy. Where you're going to know everything about X Plus, past, present, future, everything. Go to that website. Awesome resource. Well, he did an interview with G Okamoto from X Plus. We all know who G Okamoto is. We know him. We love him. The guy that pretty much decides what monsters X Plus is going to make. He's like the front man for the company. Great guy. Can't wait to meet him one day, hopefully. But John Stanowski did an interview with him late 2015 about, at that point, what would us collectors be expecting come from X Plus, down the pipeline at that point. And as relates to the Gigantic series, he asked him point blank, what can we expect from the Gigantic series? And I'm paraphrasing here because you need to go back and read the article. It's a great interview, mind you. Mr. Okamoto said he wanted to make a Gigantic series Ultraman, and that's happened. He wanted to make a Gigantic series 1962 Godzilla. That happened. He wanted to make a Gigantic 1954 Godzilla. That happened. And finally, he said he wanted to make a Gigantic series Godzilla 1989. And now that's happened, So fast forward 3 years. Early last year, 2018. And I want to go to another great interview. Yes, Kyle Yount from the awesome, great podcast dedicated to Godzilla and all his rubber-suited foes. Probably the greatest, if not, yes, the greatest podcast dedicated to Godzilla, the Kaiju Cast. And Kyle Yount went to Japan on a work trip, I believe, early last year, 2018. And he was able to formulate a whole bunch of questions that he asked a lot of us members in the X Plus Collectors Facebook group on Facebook. He said, hey, I'm going to be going to Japan. I may come in contact with G. So if you have any questions that you want me to ask him, please let me know. So he had like a video conference with him. He was there and he shot a video where he was asking all of us, asking him questions, and as it relates to the Gigantic series, he asked point blank, Mr. Yount did, can we expect any more Heisei Godzillas to come from the Gigantic series? Because at that point, when it comes to the Gigantic series, the Heisei era was really underrepresented. He was the only one that was represented in that line was the Burning Godzilla. At that point, I think we would have had two Showas, and at that point later on we got the 64, so now we got 3 Showas and 2 Heiseis. No, excuse me. Yeah, now we got 2 Heiseis, but we got 2 Millennium figures, maybe 3 if you count the alternate paint variant of the GMK. But as far as the Heisei series is concerned, really underrepresented. And Mr. Yount asked him, can we expect any more Heisei Gigantics to come from the series? And Mr. Okamoto said, absolutely, yes. And at that point, he couldn't really say anything else because obviously he had it already planned, and he couldn't really give too much information about that. So that was another red flag. Fast forward that same year, 2018, to the Summer Wonder Festival show in Japan, late July going to August, and we first got our glimpse or prototype pictures of the upcoming Gigantic series Godzilla 1989. It was finally confirmed. Yes, we got visual confirmation that the 89 was coming. It was an unpainted prototype, in its clay form or whatever. So we were really excited about that. Also at that same show, we got another bombshell that alongside the 89, they showcased a prototype picture of an upcoming Gigantic series, Mecha Godzilla from 1974, Godzilla vs. Mecha Godzilla. So that was a shocker too. So that was a great show. And then fast forward a few months at Super Festival in November. They had a show there. It was the show, excuse me. And S Plus was there showcasing some upcoming products. At the show, they showcased the recently released 30cm Ebera, the upcoming 25cm Monster X from Final Wars, the recently released Delphi Real Zilla from Godzilla 1998, the recently released Favorite Sculptors Line 1964 Godzilla, and they showed the 89 Gigantic Series figure painted. And a lot of people were kind of nitpicking with this, with the paint jobs. As a matter of fact, they were kind of nitpicking with the prototype sculpt, and I'll talk about that in a few seconds after I get done talking about the history here. But yes, we first saw pictures of this guy painted at Super Festival. It wasn't the best paint job in the world, but it wasn't bad either, in my opinion. Then a few weeks later, I think towards the tail end of the year, we got confirmation or pre-order information that the 89 was coming up for pre-order, and so there was a time where you need to get your pre-order. And then it was set to drop in March, but apparently, unfortunately, I guess due to production issues, it got pushed back to April, the last week in April, to be exact. And that's basically the history with this figure. You know, it's been a long, long, long road with this guy. Once again, I think a lot of folks tend to think that the road started with the pre-orders late last year, but like I told you, you know, this has been like 4.5 years in the making. You know, it's been a long road for this guy, you know, and I'm glad that he's finally here. I'm glad that we have another Heisei Gigantic series figure. And as relates to the people that was nitpicking about this, and yes, I do say nitpicking because honestly, that was what a lot of people was doing. When they first saw the prototype pictures of this figure, there were a lot of people that were saying, oh, the neck's not right. Oh, he looks too baggy. He looks like this. He looks like that. He doesn't look all too well. And then when we saw pictures of it painted, people were actually crapping on it then again, saying the paint job looks horrible. You know, it looks like, I think one guy said it kind of looks like a Diamond Select figure. You know, like those Diamond Select banks that we be getting as far as like, you know, Godzilla characters like the 74, which honestly does not look like the 74. You know, they're not the best pieces. They're okay. You know what I'm saying? But they're nowhere near S Plus quality. But some people were comparing the paint job that we saw at Super Festival to that of a Diamond Select figure. And I think they was taking it too far. I think the reason, and I've been seeing it a lot lately. Whenever S Plus release a figure or say they're going to release a figure and they show prototype pictures of it, I think a lot of us, and yes, I'm going to include myself into this equation too, because it's not fair to me. It's not fair for me to exclude myself because I'm a collector just like everybody else. Even though I don't do this, you know, I'm still going to look myself into this batch here. I think most of the reason why we have been nitpicking about these figures, because by and large, S Plus produces great figures, you know. Not trying to say that every figure that they have made has been a home run, mind you, but I say out of 100%, I think they're like 90-95%, which ain't bad considering, you know, that they have produced many figures over the years. But there have been a few here and there that have not been so great. And I think maybe because we've been spoiled on such great things that S Plus does, that we expect perfection every time they drop a figure. And I think that's not realistic, you know what I mean? And once again, with the prototype pictures and the first painted pictures, you know what I'm saying? I just think that we take the fun out of it by nitpicking. It's one thing to have legit criticisms, you know what I'm saying? It's one thing to have legit complaints. But at the same time, you know, these are prototypes, you know what I'm saying? They have time between they announce the figure to when they drop it or release it to modify it, to tweak it, to make it better, you know? So I'm of the approach, you know, let's just wait and see approach, you know what I'm saying? And if the figure does not meet your expectations, once you get it, you can always sell it. You can always resell it. Somebody will always be there to buy it off from you. But I think that we have just fallen into this trope or this trap of just being nitpicking. You know what I'm saying? It's no different. Like if somebody were to give you $1 million, right? Somebody would walk up to you with a briefcase and hand you this and say, hey, here's $1 million. I want you to have it. But yeah, you open it up and the first thing you do is like, wait a minute. Why is it all on ones and ones? I want 20s. You know, it's kind of like the same thing. You know what I mean? I just hope that, you know, we kind of like grow out of that. You know what I mean? But that's something I've been seeing a lot as of late. you know, and hopefully we can just get back to the fun of it, you know, because when you nitpick and when you find inconsistencies about a figure, especially a prototype, and yes, they're going to be there because that's what prototypes are. They're basically rough drafts of the final product. It's not the final product, but I think we take the fun out of it by just critiquing it a little bit too closely without giving it time for it to get better, to get to the final product. You know what I mean? Hopefully we can get out of that. But aside from that, that is the long backstory with this figure. And let me give a huge shout out to everybody in S Plus Collectors Facebook group, because I know as of late I've been kind of critical of this guy. I've been kind of nitpicking with people. Not nitpicking with people, I've been picking with people that have been anticipating this guy, and I've been saying like little stuff here and there, like it's not better than the 64, it won't be better than the 95 or Shin. I just do that out of fun. I'm not really serious when I say that. You would not believe how many people came up to me and said, hey, are you serious when you be dogging at the 89 Gigantic? I'm really not serious. I just do it to have fun. You know, 'cause I have a twisted sense of humor. But let me just tell you, this guy is amazing. He really is. You know, we're going to get up close and personal with this guy, but this guy is so amazing. And honestly, this is the first time I cracked him open. Like before I started recording here, it is what, 10:30 here on Sunday morning, May the 5th. And I got this guy this past Wednesday, I believe on the 1st. I believe it's the 1st. But I haven't cracked them open until like now because I wanted to save it for the review, you know. But yes, this guy is amazing. Out the box, man, this guy is amazing. I've been seeing people who have been getting theirs for the past 2 or 3 days, been going gaga over this figure, and rightfully so. And I've been hearing folks that saying that he's the biggest gigantic, because I haven't really put this guy up against Shin. At this point, Shin Godzilla is the biggest gigantic and the biggest S Plus figure, mind you. But you know what? When we do size comparisons, I will put the gigantic Shin up against the gigantic 89 and find out who is the biggest. I'm looking forward to that. As a matter of fact, there's going to be a few size comparisons throughout this video just to give you a sense of scale and depth with this guy, you know. But yes, such a great piece. I'm glad I got it. Once again, it's a great release of this year so far. I hear some people already calling it figure of the year. And honestly, I can't blame him for that, because this thing really is amazing. So you know how we do things around here to get up close and personal with the standard edition of the X Plus Gigantic series, Godzilla 1989, based off his iconic appearance in the second Heisei epic Godzilla film, Godzilla vs. Biollante from 1989. All right, let's get up close and personal with this guy right now. Okay, folks, here we are up close and personal with the X Plus Gigantic series, Godzilla 1989 standard edition. Yes. I forgot to mention this earlier in the early commentary. This is the standard edition. I didn't go for the Rick. The Rick Boy edition of this figure came with an alternate jaw where you can display him in a closed mouth position, and his dorsal plates were translucent where they can glow in the dark. Wasn't really feeling that, honestly. The price range for this guy was already expensive. The standard was like maybe $400, you know, and I have a little history with Gigantic Series figures, just a little bit. So I knew that if the figure was going to be $400 standard, then shipping would have been like $120 more, because, you know, it costs a lot to ship these big figures in these big boxes. But for the Rick difference, price-wise, was like maybe $50 to $60. And honestly, that wasn't enough for me to go after the Rick. You know what I'm saying? Had it came with the N-scale like Super X2, like the Super X3 came with the Frozen Gigantic 1995 Godzilla, I probably would have went after it. But I was fine with the standard, you know, anyways. And speaking of shipping, you know what? This guy was actually good on shipping. You know, normally the Gigantic Series figures run, like I said, between $110 to $125 just to ship it, you know. EMS shipping to get it from Japan to the United States like in less than 4 or 5 days. So, you know, you're going to spend some money for it. But with this guy was actually like $99 to $100, which was obviously just great, you know what I'm saying? So the shipping cost on this guy wasn't that bad in comparison to other figures like Shin. Oh man, don't get me started on Shin. Shin was like the most expensive figure that I ever bought from X Plus, and the most expensive figure that I had to ship from Japan. Hopefully we will not go back to that. You know what I mean? But then again, the upcoming 2019 Godzilla got me a little bit worried about that too. But we'll cross that bridge once we get to it. Now, before we get up close and personal, let me just see how tall is this figure. And I got my trusted tape measure here. And let's see how tall he is. Because in promotional pictures, when they first put the figure on the website for pre-order, they boasted it's like at 52 centimeters, which is like, what, 19 to 19 and a half inches tall. And like I said, I've been hearing reports from people, this actually is the biggest one. He actually dwarfs Shin, but we'll see that in a few minutes. But let me just do like a quick size to see how tall he is. Let's see, okay. And he's, woo! Let's see. He is, you probably can't see through the camera, but he is a little over 20. He's a shade under 21 inches tall. As far as like length from his tail to like his feet, let's just see right here. 28. Let's go to his other foot. 28, like 34. So he's like 34 basically in length. You know what I'm saying? Which is good. What I love most about this figure is the fact that because he is so big, what they did with the tail was so cool. Because unlike the 95, the 95's tail goes straight out. You know what I'm saying? So you need to, you know, get a lot of space for him to house him. You know what I mean? But at least with this guy, at least with his tail curved the way it is, you can actually position him better on a shelving system. Which is good, which is really good. So yeah, 52 centimeters tall, under 21 inches tall. Such a good size, you know. I'm looking forward to see how he sizes up with other Gigantics. But yes, this guy is amazing. We've been through this before with Godzilla, tree bark light skin, you know, whatever, charcoal gray, dark charcoal gray. And I put up a picture of what he looked like at Super Festival. You know, well, like I said, the paint job may have been a little bit bland, but it wasn't bad. It wasn't like awful, right? But once again, they have made it better. You know what I'm saying? That's what X Plus do. You know what I'm saying? They make things better. This is awesome. They had done such a great job with the paint job on this guy. Yes. And in some respects, I know a lot of folks, because I've been saying this a lot lately on the Facebook group, S Plus Collectors Facebook group or club or whatever heck we're calling ourselves these days, that in some respects, he kind of looks like the 91 in some respects. Even though there are a couple of people that kind of disagree with me, but in some respects, he does look like the 91. Namely in the face, because the face, especially with his gums and his teeth popping out like that, the 91 had more of his gums, like just more red like that, you know, more of a ferocious look, you know what I mean? And his chest, you know, even though the 89 had the same type of chest too, with it all buffed up and puffed out like that, in some respects, like I said, he does come across as the 91. And honestly, unless X Plus goes back to the 91 for the Gigantic series, which I highly doubt, but then again, never say never, this is about as close as we're ever going to get to a 91 Gigantic, even though it's not officially the 91. You know what I mean? But I can see traces of the 91 in this sculpt. And S Plus has done that before with other figures. Like the 92 Godzilla. You know, not the Sakai, but the regular 30 centimeter 1992. In some respects, he doesn't look like the 92 per se. He kind of comes across as like the 93. You know what I mean? Or the Diamond Reissue Godzilla 2000 version 2 edition, right? That figure kind of looks more like the Godzilla from Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla versus Godzilla 2000, you know? But S Plus, you know, put little tweaks and stuff in their sculpts, you know, and took a little bit of artistic liberties where, you know, even though it is advertised as a you know, a certain design, he kind of looks like a different design. But with this guy right here with the 89, he does, like I said, have traces of the 89 in this sculpt. You know what I mean? And it's awesome. This Godzilla, in my opinion, aside from the 64, I gotta give love to the 64, is probably the most perfect Godzilla, in my opinion. You know, he's not too fat. You know, he's very, very muscular. You know, the musculature in his chest just gives that emphasis of power, just raw power. You know, I love how they chose this design for Godzilla's Biollante. Nothing against the 84, because I love the 84 too. But it's something about this design that gives him more of a dragon, fierce, just all-powerful presence. And X Plus has basically put all that into this sculpt right here. Such an amazing piece. You know, the dorsal plates are popping with bone white color, you know, kind of dirty bone white color. All the way down his back, all the way, you know, the dorsal plate is going on his tail, to the tip of his tail. Such great paint scheme. Paint schemes that they put on the dorsal plates, you know, whatever. It's kind of like the same color on his toes as well as his claws. In a way, it could probably pass for a prop that you can use in the movie itself. You know what I'm saying? The detail on this guy is amazing. X Plus has done such a tremendous, fantastic job. You know I ragged on it, like I said, in the Facebook group, but I do that out of fun. You know what I mean? But I can tell you, this guy's amazing. That's the thing. I never said that this guy was going to be a bad figure. I just said in certain respects that it's kind of overrated, but I said that in fun. I said it in jest. I wasn't really serious. You know what I mean? Because I love the 64 that much. And right now, you know, I'll probably talk about this later as I rank them. You know what? I'll save it for the tail end because I do want to rank my Gigantics. But I will tell you, he's up there. This guy is up there. But just the expression on his face looks so amazing. Like I said, the claws, just the posture of this figure looks like basically, you know, Ken Pachira Satsuma is in this figure. He's about to take a step. He's about to walk. Just the stance. Oh my God, the color on the dorsal plates, the sculpt, his toes, his claws, his teeth, his eyes, the shape of his head, his buffed up chest, his long tail, just everything about this figure is so amazing. Yes, it is. I'm glad I got it, you know. Just, it's so amazing. And for all those people that kind of like hated on this figure and was nitpicking about it, you know what? It makes me wonder. I wonder what those people are doing right now.
Not again. Stupid.
Well, anyways, back to the sculpt, back to the figure. It's amazing. Yes, it is. You know, it speaks for itself. You know what I mean? Oh my God. Such a great piece. Once again, there are folks right now that are calling this figure of the year. In the year where we've seen the Famous Sculptors line 64. Yes, I love that figure. I don't care what you say. The new Gargantuous, the recently released 2002 Sakai from X Plus. Not to mention the stuff that we know that's coming, like Mecha King Ghidorah, the Gigantic 2019, the new 2000, the new Orga, the King Ghidorah 1964. You know, so much stuff is coming. But a lot of people are already calling this guy the figure of the year. And you know what? I can't argue with that. I don't know if I'll say that right now. Maybe I'll say that towards the tail end of the review. But for right now, I can't argue with them for people that do say that. But aside from that, this is such a great figure. So now let's get into the size comparisons. Yes, this is what I'm most looking forward to. And as a matter of fact, I got like maybe four size comparisons I want to do with this guy. Because I still, at this point, have not decided what I'm going to do with this guy, where I'm going to display him. Because, you know, I like to display my figures in certain, like, setups. You know what I mean? So maybe after I'm done with the size comparisons with the figures I'm going to choose for the size comparisons, maybe y'all can pipe down in the comment section and let me know which looks best to you. And that way I can have different opinions of where I want to go in displaying this guy. Whether he's alone or with whatever I choose to put along with him. You can't go wrong with this figure. Yes, the S Plus Gigantic Series, Godzilla 1989, where it's the standard or the RIT, you can't go wrong with this figure. Alright, so let's go with the first size comparison. And you know what? Which one should I use first? You know what? Let's bring up the 95. Yes, let's bring the Heisei Gigantic up against another Heisei Gigantic, and let's see how they pair well together. Alright, let's go to that size comparison right now. Okay, folks, this is the first size comparison, and yes, let's compare the X Plus Gigantics from the Heisei period. Yes, we have the man in the hour to the right, the Gigantic Series, Godzilla 1989, and of course, we have the one on the left, the first Heisei Gigantic, yes, the 1995 BioGoji, whatever you want to call it, Godzilla 1995, based off his appearance in the final Heisei film, Godzilla vs. Destroyer. And as you can see, they look well together. And once again, oh my God, the 89 just Oh my God, he got him by like, what, an inch, I think, or half an inch? Oh my God, woo! This is amazing. But you know what? You see the evolution in the suit, you know what I mean? Because since 89 is basically, was the prototype, or I guess the every suit in the Heisei series was based off the 89. Not the 84, but the 89. And as the series went on, his lower body got more chunky. They increased the number of dorsal plates on his back, you know, whatever, where he kind of looks like a little stout or whatever. But the reason why, as you can see, why the 89 towers over him is the fact that his thighs are more close together, where the 95s are more spaced out, you know. So he has more of a height advantage because of that with the 89 I'm talking about. But as you can see, they look so well together. They really, really do. Once again, you see the evolution on where Godzilla came from in 89 and how he would look in the 95 film. And I know some folks, I actually have seen some folks talk about that they find the thighs on 89 a little bit chunky. Trust me, if you have the 95, oh my God, the 89 is like a bodybuilder compared to the 95. I ain't trying to call the 95 fat. I won't do that. Like I said, he's chunky, but you know, not chunky in a bad way. You know what I mean? But yes, the 95 is still impressive, but for the longest time, the 95 was basically the tallest and the biggest X Plus figure that X Plus has ever done. Up until when Shin Godzilla came along, the gigantic Shin Godzilla, and he kind of relinquished that title to him. And now he has basically relinquished, being the second biggest gigantic to now the 89, provided if Shin is bigger than 89. But we'll talk about that. We'll see about that in a few seconds. But aside from that, as you can see, such great figures. X Plus has done a fantastic job. Once again, thank you, X Plus. Thank you, Mr. G. Okamoto, for making this happen. Yes, once again, I've always said, when it came to the Gigantic Series figures, and don't get me wrong, I love the Gigantic Series. I love every figure that they have done for the Gigantic Series. But each time we would get like a subsequent new Gigantic Series figure that wasn't from the Heisei, I've always said, you know what, I'm happy to get what we're getting, but they need to go back to the Heisei. They need to go back to the Heisei and choose, at least one or two more designs. You know what I mean? Aside from the 89, which we all kind of knew and suspected that would be the next one, I've always advocated for the 84, so hopefully they can go back to that at some point, but I'm glad that they finally went and decided to make this figure to 89. Such a great piece. And once again, if you think this is something that I should do, or this is how I should display my 89 Gigantic up against the 95, pipe down in the comment section. I'll look forward to hearing what you think about it. But aside from that, this is such a great size comparison. Wow. Two of the biggest and two of the best and very just awesomely detailed figures X Plus has ever done. And I'm glad I got them. Alright, so that's it with the first size comparison between both Heisei Gigantics. And you know what? Let's bring up Shin. Yes, we're going to bring up Shin and find out if the 89 here is the biggest Gigantic. Oh man, I'm looking forward to this. Like I said, I've been hearing conflicting reports from people that said that he is, that he's not, blah, blah, blah. But you know what? We're going to find out right now. So let's bring up the X Plus Gigantic Series Shin Godzilla, and let's put him up against the Gigantic Series Godzilla 1989. And let's see who is the biggest and the baddest that X Plus has ever done. Let's do that right now. Oh my God. Oh, oh my God. Well, oh my God. I never thought it would be possible for X Plus to make a figure bigger than the X Plus Gigantic Series Shin Godzilla. But as you can see here, the 89 got him. Oh my God, the 89 got him. You know what? Let's back up a little bit. Let's examine this, all right? Let's digest it. Let's just unpack this, okay? Because I know on first glance, it's kind of easy to get lost in the idea of these two being together. Because it got me just now. But, man, as you can see, I put the 89 up against Shin, where they're like on the same playing field. From this perspective, if I would have put 89 a little bit more back, it wouldn't have been like the proper, perfect size scale between the two, but they're basically like right next to each other. And as you can see, the 89 got him. The 89 is taller, but is he bigger? I don't know. I think when it comes to size and girth, Shin got him because of his tail being so long and so big. But when it comes to height wise, you know what? That's my assessment. The 89 is the tallest figure, but Shin is probably the biggest. You know what? Where's my tape measure? I'm gonna try and tape, at least measure some of this. Whatever. Because I mentioned, I think the 89 was like 38 inches from the tip of his tail to the other side of his foot, 38 inches, and he's like at least a shade under 20 inches tall, or 21 inches tall, I believe. All right, now Shin, he is kind of the same. He's 38, but still, I mean, I don't know. Let's like measure his thigh. His thigh on Shin is 7 inches. Okay, the thigh on the 89, 7 inches. 7 inches. Wow. People, I don't know. If you have both of these figures, why don't you pop down in the comment section. Find you a tape measure and then just measure it. Because as of right now, which one's the biggest? I'm probably going to go with 89. Wow, I don't know. Because they're both so strikingly different in terms of their poses that it's kind of hard to get like a good size between the two. But as you can see, the 89 clearly got him by the height. That's a no-brainer. You can see that right now. But far as like girth, I think Shin's tail gives him more of a girth size advantage as far as that concerned. But far as height-wise, it's the 89. Man, I feel bad for the gigantic burning Godzilla. Because like I said, he had to relinquish his World Heavyweight Championship title of being the biggest X Plus figure to Shin. Now he's not even big as the 89. For a while, he was the reigning, defending, undisputed heavyweight champion of X Plus of being the biggest Godzilla figure. I gotta channel my Paul Heyman here. He was the reigning, defending, undisputed heavyweight champion of the world as far as like the biggest Godzilla figure X Plus has ever done. And now he was that for like 4 years or 5 years straight? No. The 2004, no, yeah. The first Burning Godzilla Gigantic came out 2014. Shin came out, 2017? Yes, 2017. So that's 3 years he went undefeated. And now he's in third place behind the 89 and Shin. Oh my God. That's awesome. That's so awesome. So, yes. Once again, why don't you pop down in the comment section on which one you feel is bigger. If you have these figures, like Gojira F51, I know if you're out there listening to Gojira F51, you got both these figures. I know you did it on your review. But get you a tape measure. If anybody else who has this figure, or anybody else who may review it, Richard Iso, or my good friend Eric Arrington, if you have this figure, the 89 as well as the gigantic Shin, whether it's the standard or the Rick. I know the Rick may be a little bit bigger because his mouth being all wide open and stuff. Maybe that'll give him more of a size advantage to be more on the same level as 89 for his height wise. But as it stands right now, the biggest, I'm going with the 89. Wow, S Plus once again have set a new precedent. Oh my God, which makes me just so worried that the upcoming 2019, maybe he will be bigger. I don't know. Only time will tell. But as you can see, they look well together. Two of the biggest X Plus figures that they have ever done. 89 as well as Shin. They have done such a great job with this. Yes. All right, let's go with 3 more size comparisons. Yes, we're going to drive the figure review and size comparisons. So with me doing that, the figure review is already going to be long as it is. So I won't talk about the film as I normally do. I say it now. I love Godzilla's Biollante. It's my 7th favorite Godzilla film of all time. Happy anniversary to the film. You know, that's my commentary portion involving the film in this video. Let's do 3 more size comparisons and we'll wrap this review up. So let's go with the next size comparison. Okay, folks, this is the 3rd size comparison. Yes, yes, yes. And then alongside the gigantic 89, I have my other Godzilla 1989 figures that S Plus has ever done. Yes, go from left to right. We had the recently released, I believe, late last year, the closed mouth Sakai 89. Yes, yes, yes. In the middle, we had the 25 centimeter version of the Godzilla 1989. And of course, to the far right, we have the original 30 centimeter version of Godzilla 1989. And of course, we have the big guy in the background. These are all the 89s I have in my collection right now. Pretty much it represents all the 89s that S Plus, I think, has ever done as far as like scaling. As far as 89, they have done so many designs or so many figures of the 89. You know, the 25 centimeter, for example, has one with vines going through it. They made an RNC version of the 30 centimeter. You know, we have another Sakai 89 with his mouth open. Didn't really care too much for that one, but I like this one better. So through it all, they have done a great job with all the 89s. That's one thing I would say about X Plus as far as 89 is concerned, or at least Godzilla designs that they have put out throughout their various lines, right? For the most part, they have done right by the 89. I can't really say the same about the 62, for example. They've made the great gigantic 62. The 30 centimeter is awesome. The Favorite Sculptors line is cool, but the 25 centimeter, not so much. Burning Godzilla, the Burning Godzilla Gigantic is awesome. The 30 centimeter is awesome. The 25 centimeter, not so much. The upcoming Sakai 95 looks awesome, you know. But the 25 centimeter Burning Godzilla doesn't really look that well, you know what I mean? But as far as like the 54 Gigantic looks great, even though the paint job is a little bit bland. The 30 centimeter 54 is amazing. The train biter is awesome. But the 25 centimeter 54 didn't really care for it. Before I saw the 89, they have done a great job with everything they have produced. And the only thing we're missing now is a Defo reel and a Favorite Sculptors line. And if they continue that track record with what they have done so far with the Gigantic, with the Sakais, with the 25, and especially with the 30, I think we're in for a treat if and when they do decide to go after the 89 in both the Defo reel line as well as the Favorite Sculptors line. But that's pretty much it with the 89s I have in my collection. And let's go with 2 more size comparisons. And once again, we'll wrap this review up. So let's go with the next size comparison with the King of the Apes. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. Let's bring up my Mark Sang-Yang custom sculpture of King Kong from the 1976 film King Kong. And let's see how an updated version of King Kong sizes up with this updated version of Godzilla. And let's go to that size comparison right now. Okay, folks, this is the next size comparison, and yes, I have a custom-made statue courtesy of the great artist extraordinaire Mark Sang-Yang. Hit up on Facebook. He made me this sculpture of King Kong 1976. Of course, I made a review of this guy. It's way back in the archives of the channel. Please check it out. It came with an island base or whatever, but I figured I'd put this sculpture of Kong, who comes in like around 16 to 17 inches tall, up against this version of the Gigantic Series 89 Godzilla. This is something, honestly, from a personal standpoint, I've always wanted to see. I've always wanted to see this version of Kong fight this version of Godzilla. I look at this version of Godzilla as basically the most perfectly proportioned Godzilla. You know what I'm saying? He looks very muscular. He's very powerful looking, very fierce, dynamic, just an awesome presence. So is this version of Kong. I know a lot of folks don't really like this movie or like that movie of the 76 version of King Kong. I love it. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm not ashamed to admit that. I love the movie and I definitely love Kong's design. And I've always wanted to see these two go at it. And honestly, we almost got that. We almost got that in the Heisei series. After Biollante didn't do so well in the box office, which once again, I don't understand how that came into being. You know what I mean? Because Biollante is such a great film. Maybe at the time it just didn't hit the right note with certain people in the audience, but I'm glad right now it has gotten the audience that it so rightfully deserves. But anyways, Biollante didn't do so well box office wise. You know, its performance wasn't too successful. So they decided to, eventually they brought back King Ghidorah, or they wanted to bring back other Godzilla classic foes and allies, for the rest of the film somewhat, right? But before we got to King Ghidorah, there was a plan for them to do King Kong versus Godzilla again, a rematch, But of course, since Kong has been like kind of untouchable when it comes to licensing and all that other crap, I don't really know the ins and outs of that. He was unavailable, or they couldn't get him. They actually even thought about making a film involving Godzilla fighting Mechanic Kong, but from King Kong Escapes, the robot version of King Kong. But once again, since that character was too similar to Kong, they couldn't go after Mechanic Kong either. But it makes me wonder what would have happened if we would have got that. If we would have got King Kong vs. Godzilla in the Heisei period, It probably would have changed the face of the Heisei series forever, But unfortunately, they couldn't get it together, and we're just left wondering what could have happened if these two would have fought each other. I think it would have been a great fight, because Kong is very muscular in his form, Godzilla the same in his form, and to see these two go at it, in a brutal fashion, would have been great. But unfortunately, it is what it is. It didn't happen. But once again, I'm glad that I got these two together. So it makes me kind of wonder and wish what could have happened. And once again, if you think this is something that I should display my Godzilla 89 with, please pop down in the comment section. I'm looking forward to hear what you're thinking about it. I'm actually leaning towards this anyway. You know what I mean? I just love seeing these two together, even though Godzilla is towering over Kong here. But in my opinion, Godzilla should be the bigger of the two anyway, like he was, in 62. And I hope that he is the same way in 2020 next year. But once again, these guys look so great together, and I'm glad I got them both together. I really am. So, we're going to the last size comparison, and then I promise you, we will be done with this review. I know I kept y'all here long enough. Hopefully y'all been entertained up until this point. But I can't leave this review without talking about, at this moment, my favorite Gigantic, which is the S Plus Gigantic series, Godzilla 1964. So let's see how my favorite Godzilla of all time, especially Gigantic and S Plus figure, pairs up against the tallest and almost basically the biggest S Plus figure has ever done with this new 89 Gigantic Godzilla. All right, let's go to the last size comparison with the 64. Right now. Okay, folks, this is the last size comparison, and yes, alongside the 89 Gigantic series Godzilla, I have, yes, my favorite Gigantic series figure of all time, basically my favorite S Plus figure of all time, the Gigantic series Godzilla 1964 Rick Exclusive Edition. Yes, they look well together. Basically, these two are two of my most favorite Godzilla designs of all time. No question about it. I make no bones about the fact that these two are top 10 on my top 10 list, with the 64 at number 1, and the 89 is like at number 8, something like that, and the 91 is basically at number 2. Yes, and these two look so great together. And very similar when it comes to their movies too. Both of them fight female monsters that are bigger than them. The fight scenes in both films are not exactly the best in the world, but yet they're still overall great movies. The build up to both Godzilla's appearances in both films are done really well. It's a more drawn up build up in Biollante, but he kind of pops up out of nowhere in Mothra vs. Godzilla, which is really good. Special effects is awesome. The score is awesome. They're both just solid Godzilla films through and through. But yes, they look so well together. And I mentioned earlier that I was going to rank my Gigantics. And how does the 89 fare? Does it top the 64? Where does he land? And you know what? I have to be honest here. As much as I love the 89, I'm sorry, the 64 is still at my number top. So here's how I rank my Gigantics. Number 1, 64. Number 2, the 89. The 89 actually falls to number 2, which is not bad. 'Cause at this point, I think the Burning Godzilla was number 2 before the 89 came in. But the 89 trumped the Burning Godzilla. Sorry, Burning Godzilla. I'm really sorry. But yes, number 1, 64. Number 2, 89. Number 3, Burning Godzilla. Number 4, 60... No, number 4 is GMK. Yep, 4 GMK. Number 5 is 62. Number 6 is Shin. Number 7 is 54. And number 8, the last one, is a 2000. I still love that figure to death, but he still falls in, the last place. But yeah, That's my ranking. Once again, 64 number 1, number 2, 89, number 3, Burning Godzilla, number 4, GMK, number 5, what was number 5? 62, yes, 62. Then Shin, then 54, and then the 2000. Yes, that's my ranking. I love them all. I really do love them all, but that's my personal ranking from my most favorite to my least favorite, even though I love them all the same. Yes, yes, yes. Such a great piece in the 89. I can go on and on about it, which I already have for the past, 45, 50 minutes. So with that being said, let's just wrap this review up with my final thoughts of the X Plus Gigantic Series Godzilla 1989. And let's go to my final thoughts right now. Okay, folks, I'm back with my final thoughts of the X Plus Gigantic Series Godzilla 1989 Standard Edition. Yes, yes, yes. 10 out of 10. I don't see anything wrong with this figure. They have got this thing perfectly just to a T, to the suit, to the monster that we saw on film that we love so much. Yes, yes, yes. My great friend, David Abdopko, who recently got this figure, at first, he was one of the ones that really didn't think about pre-ordering at first. Only when he saw pictures after the fact, where he was like, you know what, I'm going after this guy. And ever since then, he's been taking some great pictures of this guy. He's been blown away by the detail that S Plus put into this figure, and I'm right there along with him. You know what I mean, David? Yes. He is so right when he says that this is basically the most perfect representation of the 89 Godzilla that X Plus has ever done. Even more so than the Sakai, even more so than the original 30 centimeter, even more so than the 25, you know? And I have to agree with them. Not because of the fact that it's bigger, but really, this is basically the most perfect representation of the 89 Godzilla. Yes. Man, they have done such a great job bringing this guy out to commemorate the 30th anniversary of the film. You know, I can't think of a better way for S Plus to do that. Yes, they have done a great job with this figure. And once again, there are a lot of folks that says that this is figure of the year already. We're not even halfway through the year already, you know, but to come out the gate like this, swinging with such a quality, top-notch, just excellent piece, oh man, S Plus is gonna have a hard time filling these shoes. You know what I mean? Maybe the 2002 Sakai that just got released may fill it, but for right now, I can understand when people say that this is the figure of the year. This is the best figure acquisition of the year. This is the best 89 Godzilla S Plus has ever done. Yes. All those things are so true. And I'm so glad I finally got my hands on it after waiting for so long. Thank you once again to Mr. G Okamoto for making this happen. Like I said, this has been like, 4.5 years in the making. But I can tell you right now, from personal experience, for having this awesome beast next to me, it was well worth the wait. You know what I mean? So that pretty much concludes my review of the X Plus Gigantic Series Standard Edition of Godzilla 1989 from its epic, iconic Heisei appearance in the second Heisei film. Godzilla vs. Biollante celebrating its 30th anniversary this year. Yes. You have any questions? Holler me down in the comment section. Hit me up on Facebook via Leslie P. Chambers. We'll definitely go from there. Yes, once again, a great piece. Yes, it is. Man, I'm so glad I finally got this guy. And it come at numbers 2 on my rankings as far as like favorite Gigantics. Ain't bad. Aside from the fact that it's so awesome, it's not stylized, it's just a perfect suit representation in vinyl figure form of the suit. Yes. If you can find one for a good price, the time is now, really. He just got dropped, like I said, between last week and the week before somewhat, and probably this week and the week afterwards. So the time is now. If you were not able to get your pre-order in, unfortunately, the only way to get one now is in the aftermarket. I think Hobby Search is sold out. You may want to try Hobbyland Japan. You may want to try Mandarake. One may pop up on there. Or you may try Baiyi. You know what I'm saying? Hit up Tyler Boots Carlson. He can help you out with that in case you can't navigate the website for Baiyi. But the time is now. Really, right now. The time is recording, like I said, is May 5th. Right now, it's going to be as best as you're going to get for us like price. Because, you know, once he's out there, and, you know, once time, you know, starts to accumulate, he's going to be way up there in price, you know. So if you really want one, and if you missed the boat on getting one or pre-ordering one, try and hunt one down in those resources that I just mentioned. All right, speaking of great pieces that S Plus has done, my next review will be, and I just got it yesterday, I believe. Yes, the upcoming review of the X Plus 30 centimeter Yuji Sakai Godzilla 2002 from his Millennium appearance in Godzilla X Mechagodzilla or Godzilla Against Mechagodzilla. That review should be coming up real soon. But until then, awesome piece. Once again, they have outdone themselves this time. Still can't beat the 64 because I love the 64 that much. But still, to come at a close second, ain't bad considering everything else they have done for us gigantic series figures. They've done great gigantic series figures through and through. The GMK Burning Godzilla 62, 2000, you know, Shin, the 54, like I said, the paint job may be bland, but it's still a great figure. They have done nothing but great work when it comes to the gigantic series, and there's no shame in falling in number 2. It really isn't. It really is a great piece, especially knocking off the Burning Godzilla, which for a while was my favorite X Plus figure. You know what I'm saying? So to knock him off the pedestal, I'm sorry, Burning Godzilla. Once again, I'm sorry. But still, the Burning Godzilla is a great piece. And so is this guy. Get this guy. You will not be disappointed with whether it's the standard edition or the Rick Boy edition of the X Plus Gigantic Series, Godzilla 1989. Alright? So I thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. And I will see y'all again on this figure move review. Alright? Y'all take it easy.